So I'm gonna just create a folder on my desktop. Make dir, and I'll call it I don't know, get example, get example, and I'm gonna create a couple files in there. Blah.txt and wow.txt, and then open it up in my code editor. So right now it's not a Git repository at all. So if I do git status, which is the main command that I keep going back to like figure out what's going on, git status all day long, it just says not a Git repository. So if you want to make a thing a Git repository, git init, short for initialize. Now it's a Git repository. If I do git status, it says no commits yet, untracked files. You get the things that have happened that we have not recorded yet show up in red. So with Git, I like to think of it as kind of like I like to use the metaphor of like putting stuff on a table and then taking a picture of the table. So like think of it as if like it's for doing work, right? It's for writing code. So think of it like back in like the old days, people probably wish. Actually, I think some people probably did do this, where they would like you're writing a paper or whatever, and this is day 3 of you writing the paper, and you've done so much stuff, however much stuff, and you take a picture of each thing that you've done, and then the next day you change some things. You may take a new picture of each page now that you've changed it. That's basically what we're doing with GitHub. So right now there's just nothing on my table to take a picture of. Git commit is the thing that takes the snapshot, but there's nothing on my table. There are 2 things that it knows about, but they're not on the table. So if I do git add, that's the command to put stuff on the table. You can add one thing at a time by doing git add blah.txt. Now if I do git status, this thing is now on the table, and this thing is not on the table. So I could take a snapshot with just one thing on the table, or I could take a snapshot with both things on the table. Git is going to put them in order anyway, so it's just a matter of how many different snapshots do you want. You could take a picture of your work in 100 different little snapshots, or you could take it all in one snapshot. For our purposes here, I can't really think of any good reason to be doing it one by one, except if you want extra commits, because you can do add and then you can commit and then add another file and then commit, so you can like have extra commits that way. But if you just want to add the whole folder, dot means whole folder. That's not a Git thing. That's just like always. Like that's why / whatever means in this folder, because dot means this folder. So if you do git add dot, it's going to add everything. So I still have no, I have not committed anything, and that means I haven't like taken the snapshot yet. But if I do git commit -m, this is a message, then now I just took a snapshot. But one thing that you got to remember about Git is that Git lives entirely on your computer. Git and GitHub are 2 different things. They're not the same thing. GitHub is a nice website that happens to be compatible with Git, but Git is totally separate. So everything I'm doing right now is just on my computer. There's nothing on the internet yet. GitHub, I didn't get a green square. My code is not uploaded there. The only command that sends anything to the cloud is git push. Git push pushes stuff to the cloud, and git pull or git fetch takes stuff from the cloud. So I can't do git push though, because I don't have a remote branch. If I do git remote -v, -v is short for -- verbose. It just, all the dashes things, you can they always have like a dash 1 letter and then a double dash, the whole word version. I don't know why. But anyway, that means verbose means like to say a lot. So it's like, tell me all the details about my remote branch. But I don't have any remote branch. So it just says nothing. So if I want, so git push is not going to do anything. Git push, it'll be like git push where? Git push origin master. It's like, no, there is no, I don't have that. So I got to add that. So that's totally separate from making a Git repository on your computer. Now I'm making a repository on my GitHub profile. Call it git demo regular. That's what this link is here. This link is the address of this repo. So it actually tells you the whole command. You can just copy that whole command. The command is git remote add. Well, let's do it one at a time. The command is git remote add. Git remote -v tells me stuff. Git remote add is to add a new remote, and then it takes two arguments. The first argument is what do you want to name that thing? You can actually name it anything. I don't know why everyone always names it origin. That's just what people do. You could name it whatever you want, but I don't know. Origin is like what everybody does. And then the second argument is the URL. So by doing this, I'm saying, hey, I want to add this thing, and I want to name it origin. Therefore, when I say git push origin, please push here. I could add two repositories. I could say git push origin and then git push other, and I could have two repositories that it pushes to. But this, we're going to name it origin. So now if I do git remote -v, it shows me two places, two thingamajiggies. One for fetch and one for push. That just means that I can take from there, and then I can also push it there. And that's the URL. So let me do git status again real quick just to make sure. So it says I'm all good, ready to go. Nothing to commit. I haven't changed anything. So if I do git push origin master, if I just do git push, it says I don't know who you want to push it to. That's why you'll see sometimes people do git push -u origin master. -u, again, the dash, it's short for, if you do double dash, it's -- set upstream. That means git push origin master. That means that from now on, if I do git push, please do it to here. That's what the set upstream thing, or -u is the same thing. So it'll push it, and also from now on, if I do git push, I don't need to say origin master. If I want to push it somewhere else, I can still say git push other master, but by default, it'll just go origin master. So now I can look here. If I refresh this page, now it's got a bunch of stuff. And yeah, it's just empty text files. So again, changing stuff. This is a new line. Also a new line. It knows that we changed it. It knows that both of them are added. We could add them separately. Like let's say that I want to do git add blah and git commit and say added very important code snippet in the blah component. Maybe I want to I want to be able to read what happened there. And then I want to do git add wow and git commit. Third line not quite working, need to revisit, but navbar is hiding correctly. Something like that, whatever. And again, git push now is already set up to go to git push origin master. And now you'll get two different messages here. This one, and now that's like to tell me later that this commit added a very important code snippet in that component, and that in this one, this is where we're at right now with that thing.
Good question.
Yeah.
You use past tense. I know it doesn't mean a lot, but we were told.
Oh yeah. Different companies do it different ways. Some. Yeah, I think either they don't care, or the companies that do care, they want you to use present tense. So yeah, I know. I think it's weird, but yeah, they want they're talking about this right here. Instead of added very important code, it should say adds very important code, just because it's like this commit adds very important code, like to make that sentence like grammatically correct. I don't know. Anyway. That is true. I've never heard anybody say, I need you to do a past tense. I've heard a lot of people say, I don't care. But the people that I've heard care, they all want you to do present tense. So, yeah, good point. Let's see. that's pretty much it. Oh, actually, let's do a little branch thing. Yeah, let's do this. Let's say that I want to experiment. Let's say that this thing like this with the this is a new line that is like really working. It's perfect. The customers are really enjoying that feature. But we want to possibly improve it, but I don't want to break it in the meantime, right? So I want to experiment by changing it, and then I get to test it. And then if it didn't work, I don't have to push it to the master branch. So if you want to make a new branch, you can do git checkout. Checkout goes to a new branch, and if you do -b, it'll make the branch while you go there. So git checkout testy test branch. Testy test branch. Okay, switch. Now if I do git branch, you can see which branch I'm on. I'm not on master. Instead, I'm on testy test branch. And my code should be the same, because when you make a new branch, it automatically it pulls whatever code your master is at right now. It copies it over to the new branch and then lets you start working there. So I'm gonna just destroyed the feature that was working, and now we'll implement experimental feature. Okay. So git status says I did that. If I do the normal thing, git add, git commit, adds, present tense, adds experimental feature to blah component. If I do git push, notice this one is not set. So the last branch I set to push to origin master, but this one's not set already to push to origin master. So again, Git and GitHub are separate. I created a branch here. That does not create a branch on GitHub. If I want to create a branch on GitHub, I have to, what do I do? Let's see. If I do git push other master, it says it doesn't have that. So, oh, sorry. Git push origin, that's the name of the repository. If I other branch, it says that one doesn't exist. So I actually have to go create the branch on GitHub first. I think maybe there's an automatic, hold on a second. I think there's an automatic thing for that. Git. Yeah. No, to push. Okay, git push origin testy test branch. Okay, so if you name it the exact same thing as the branch that you have here, then it automatically creates it. So now here on GitHub, if I look at this little thing right here, it says branch master. If I click there, you can get master or testy test branch. And if I look at master, blah just looks like this. And if I look at testy test branch, blah looks like that. And then let's say that it worked out well, and you want to merge that in there. You can. There's a few different ways you can do it. Yeah, you can merge, you can rebase, you can create a pull request and then pull. It really depends on. It really depends. So here's one way to do it. One way is like this. You can go to back into the master branch and then merge this thing. So if you do git checkout master, now we're on the master branch. If you do git merge testy test branch, it says updating, blah, 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 did whatever we did. Now if I go look at the code, now this is what it says. So now we're on master branch, and it says this. So now that is, that's the new code on master branch. So if I do git status, you'll notice I get this message that says I'm ahead of origin master by 1 commit, even though I didn't commit. When you do a git merge, that is a commit. The difference between, we're not going to do rebase here because it's, in my opinion, excessively fancy, but some people that are really strict about git histories, they want to rebase, and the reason they want to rebase instead of merge is because when you merge, I'm ahead by 1 commit. Well, even if that's true, that's going to be true either way because I only changed 1 thing, but even if I changed like 25 things and I made 25 commits in that testy test branch, when I merge, it's still just going to be 1 commit. When you rebase, it'll make it into 25 separate commits. That's the difference between merging and rebasing. But anyway, if I do git push, and now on branch master, we got it. And the old branch is still there. Usually people don't delete the branch. They usually leave it. That's what the reason. Like usually, if you rebase, it will delete the branch when you do that, and it'll take each commit separately and put it into your commit history for master branch. If you merge, it puts it in as 1 commit. People typically leave the branch there because that way those commits are still preserved in some way. You don't see them on your main commit history. You see them if you want to see each one of those commits, you can go here and click there, and you can see that history. The branch is deleted, but you still have all your history. Every single one of your commits gets merged into the master's history. So you don't lose any of the history. In fact, your history, it gets integrated into the, even if there were commits that happen on the master in between those commits, it'll put 1 here and then 1 here, and so it'll align it chronologically perfectly for you.
What do you prefer?
Sorry?
What do you prefer, merge?
I prefer pull requests, actually. Yeah, I find it because it's like in here you click buttons and you just click buttons. But yeah. Actually, either way or merge. I don't know. I don't really have a preference. Anyway, let's do something where now Marcos and I are gonna collaborate on this thing.
What if you did it from GitHub and then you want to see it on your
I'm sorry?
Like if you did a file from GitHub and then you see it on your local.
If I did what to the file on GitHub?
Like, because you can also edit it from GitHub, right?
You mean if I do a pull request? You're talking about a pull request?
No, you can add a line. If you add
Oh, if I add a line in here, never do that. Never do that. If you want to do that, don't do that. If you want to do that, yeah, you could do it like this. I think you could edit it here. Yet another line. Yeah, this is like what this is like the police should be called. Someone should call the police. I'm gonna be put on like a FBI watch list after this. They're gonna be like, there's some serial killer guy. Added a new line in the weirdest way possible. Feels awkward. So yeah, we're committing directly to the master branch. So if I do that, now that has that stuff on it. If I go into my terminal, if I do git status, it'll say, what? I'm not up to date. That's not true. What? Hold on. Okay, well it doesn't know, but I'm not up to date. So I got to do git pull origin master, and it'll take whatever is on origin master and put it on here. So now that line just got added there. So now I'm going to collaborate with Marcos. So I'm going to here. Oh, here. So Marcos, what Marcos did was, this is how you guys are submitting assignments. So what Marcos did is he went and he forked my repo. And then after he forked it over to his repository, he cloned it on his desktop or wherever, cloned it somewhere. And then he opened it up and he did some stuff. He did what? He added a file called index.html. And I can see exactly what he did. So, yeah, so I had this thing in blah.txt that says this is a new line, and he changed it like this. This is going to be the new line of the text that is being added now. And I think this is interesting because this one, I think, is going to produce a merge conflict because I already committed something different to this file before he did this. So this one is going to merge seamlessly, but this one is probably going to have a merge conflict. So let's see. Oh no, wait, don't do that. Let me go. Yeah, resolve conflicts, okay. So when you get a merge conflict, it looks like this. It's not it's the least magical thing about GitHub. You literally have just look at the thing that looks like this, and then until there's the equal signs, that's one version, and then under the equal signs is another version. You pick which version you want, or you mix the two versions. I'm gonna have all of it. So I'm just gonna get rid of this master thing and that equals thing, and leave it all like that. And I'm gonna click mark as resolved and commit merge. So now Marcos, I just accepted his, oh, actually not yet. Now I accepted his pull request. And so now the code has actually been changed. So now if I look here, I have all that. And so if I want to get that code, if I'm working with Marcos, then on this project, let's say I am, and let's say I'm adding something else too. I made some kind of thing, background color magenta. If you're working with somebody else, what you got to do is do git add, git commit, added a CSS file, and then before you push, you always git pull origin master. This, in my opinion, is the easiest way to work with somebody else. Oh no. I'm in Vim. I guess what it wanted me to do a message here. So I guess git pull origin master -m is what we want. But if you get into this thing, if you do :q !enter, it'll take you out of there. And so it says 2 files changed. Let's take a look. Oh wait, sorry. Yeah. Now I got index.html and I got style CSS. Okay, now I can push git push origin master. And now it's got my changes and Marcos's changes. Now another way to do it, if you're working with somebody, if you can do it with nobody submits any pull requests. So what I can do is I can go into settings, and I can invite Marcos as a collaborator. So I'm going to add him as a collaborator. He's got to open his email and accept the invite. And then once he's a collaborator, instead of forking my repo and then cloning it and then submitting to his own repo and submitting pull requests, instead he can just go on mine and he can clone mine directly. and then he can make changes, and then we can both push, and all we have to do is make sure that we always pull before we push, and it'll be fine. So Marcos changed some, stuff.
So this is how most in the collaborative.
No, this is the easiest way. Most in a collaborative company will put not the easy way, the hardest way possible, because they want to avoid ever doing anything by accident. That's like the main thing.
So you are working on your own repo.
Yeah, I've seen
that, and then they have to accept the pull request from you.
that's pretty typical. Sometimes it's even more. Sometimes it's like they accept a pull request, and then that guy submits a pull request to the the testing environment, and then once they test it, then that submits a new pull request to the production, and then they send it out. So it's sometimes like many layers.
But in a way, at least that lives in your repo. So
Yeah.
if you're going for an interview, they can see all the stuff that you've done over the years.
Yeah.
If you
And
commit it directly into yours, for example, if I'm a collaborator, would that still show as a commit?
no. If you want to commit on yours, you have to create an organization. So we can do that next. So Marcos, did you make changes? Okay. Yeah, so Marcos is not going to get a green dot for this. If you're concerned about the green dots, you can do this exact same thing, except see how this thing lives on Nick Borby Git demo regular? You can create an organization, much like how Sandra created an organization where all the code is. It's not on her personal GitHub. It's on a thing called Part-Time Web Dev October, like that. You can create an organization for your project, and then you both push to that, and then you both get green commits. Okay, changes? :Q exclamation point. Okay, so Marcos, nice, did some changes 18 seconds ago, 19 seconds ago. So if I want to go in here and I want to change some stuff, like I know that there are changes, but even if you don't know, you don't have to continually, like this is if you're going to work in groups, like on a project in this class, this is the easiest way to do it. But like I said, doing it on a organization will get you your green dots. But so he's working on something, I'm working on something. Let's say I don't even know that he changed it. It's not even necessary that I know that things changed. But in here, if I add more CSS, images are all 300 pixels and border radius 2%. I want to commit that. Git add, git commit -m, added more styles. Before I push, git pull origin master. And it says, oh no, merge conflict in styles.css. So Marcos changed styles.css, and I also changed that same file, probably on the same lines. So if I go and look here, it actually threw that same kind of thing that we saw on GitHub earlier into my code. And so I just look at the different, the two different versions. One version, they're color coded and everything. So I choose this version, or I can do both. I can say, I like, Marcos actually did it width on images. Wow, we did the exact same rule. So we didn't communicate before that, but I actually want them to be 300 pixels. Actually, I want them to be 100 pixels, but I want my border radius rule. So I'll take Marcos's 100 pixel rule, and I'll take my border radius rule, and take that. And now I got to commit that change. Merge conflict resolve. And now we got both of our stuff. Nice. And if you want to create an organization, you go to settings, I think. Yeah, organizations. In your profile, settings in your profile. Organizations, new organization, and then you choose the free one. Thing that does nothing. And so now, if I want to add people, you can add your group members. And then you can create your repository inside of here. And so then if you do the same thing with that, then you'll both get commits for everything that you do.
And where does that live in your profile?
That
If I
lives.
want to find Sandra's organization here, because I'm on hers and I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I think you can only see your own. I can see my own, but if I go to someone else's, you can't see it. So let's see. Let me see. GitHub, how to see someone's organizations. Oh, you can hide it or show it. It's something that you get to decide on your profile. I should show mine is what I should do. Anyway, that's pretty much everything about GitHub that I can think of right now. Do you guys have any other questions about Git and GitHub?
Again, that's pull before push.
Yeah.
In a few words.
Pull before push just is like, it means this. If this has stuff that I don't have yet on my computer, pull takes it and puts it on my computer. Push just does the opposite. If I have stuff on my computer that doesn't exist here yet, push takes it from my computer and pushes it there.
Usually it's for cases when you're working in a
Yeah, pull before push is only going to, if you're working by yourself, you'll never do that. There's no reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can you see the list of all commits and then go back to maybe 2 commits before?
Okay, if you want to see the list of all commits, you can click on this little thing that says 15 commits and look at all the commits. You can also go in here and do git log, and you can see all your commits there.
And you get like 2.
And if you want to get back to one,
Yeah.
you got to copy one of those things. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. All the way back to the beginning. This is the first. If you got to copy this commit, copy this. It's longer than this. This is not actually the code. If you click this, it'll copy the real code. If you go into here, you can do git checkout and then paste that line. And now, if I look in here, none of this stuff exists. In fact, if I, it's not there here. Look at, there's only 2 files now, blah and wow, and they're actually both blank because that was my first commit. So then if I want to forget about that and go back to back to how I was, I can do, how do I go back? Let's see. Sorry? Yeah, for branch, yeah. How do I get back to my normal commit again? Wait, hold on. Is it that? Yeah, okay. Now we have it all back. So yeah, you just git checkout master and you're back there. Other question? Yeah.
Should you have a repository for every single project, or can you have a file and just push it and push different projects into that one file?
You can do whatever you want. What we have for this class is the second thing. We have one repo called module 1, and everything we got week 1 and week 2 and week 3 in there. So it's up to you. for your project, it has to be its own thing because that's how you deploy something. You deploy a GitHub repo.
Because for some reason mine, when I push it, because I did have like a home folder for everything, but when I push it, I don't know where it goes because I now have two of the same labs, one by itself in its own folder and one under the main folder.
Yeah. You need each assignment that you do needs to be its own thing because that's how you submit them. Because when you fork it, it makes a new thing on your GitHub. So you have to have a separate GitHub repo for each lab that we do in here. But that doesn't mean that you can't also have it in the other one if you want to. That's fine too. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, anything else about GitHub?